Sign up at the end of this review to get my personal gear list. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural Acoustic Letter Q&A slash the really cool thing. We're unveiling our brand new HD-28. If you are just joining us, let me introduce who's here, because you'll notice I'm not the only one. Like on most of the Acoustic Letter things, I fly solo. And I am Tony Policastro, Acoustic Letter reviewer, and with me today is Paul Decker, the owner of Music Villa. And
Hello.
We are super, super excited to be unveiling the new special HD-28 that we've designed. And we're here to tell you about it. So if you're just joining us, make sure to leave a comment, say that you're here, say even where you're from, and of course, we're going to do a Q&A at the end of this. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in now. If you don't, if they come up later, you can type them in then. But we're here for you to hang out, talk guitars, and show you this really, really cool new model.
They just didn't hear a word you just said. It's not working.
It's not working?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just saying I haven't seen any questions yet. This is our first one. This is the very first one, so we're. Let us know if you can hear us.
If you can hear us, we'd love it. If you can't, I'm really sorry. There's a lot of good stuff happening in here right now. I'm just kidding. So yeah, so we're here today. We're going to show you this brand new HD-28 that we've crafted. We haven't crafted it, but we've designed it, and Paul's worked very hard with the folks at Martin and our sales rep Larry to design a really, really cool brand new version of an HD-28, and we're just super excited about it. So if you're here, if you're just joining us, I'm glad you're here, because if you love guitars and you want to talk guitars, welcome. This is the place to do it. Like I said, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this. If you're interested in HD-28s, great place, because we got a really killer one coming up. And if you just want to know more what's behind the Acoustic Letter, Music Villa, why guitars make us tick, I'm glad you're here.
Which is kind of why we're trying this out on the HD-28. We're trying to see if we can get these webinars to sit and hang out and talk about guitars.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that we do anyway, pretty much every day. So why not throw a camera up and have people watch us talk about guitars and chime in, which is way cool. It's nice to get your emails. It's always very cool to have people write in, and this is even cooler because we get actual live stuff from you. In fact, we're just...
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question.
So we've got confirmation that you guys can hear us, which is awesome. So thank you. It looks like the folks in Oklahoma, I'm not even going to try, Chickasha, Oklahoma.
Someone wants to know what kind of hair gel I use.
What kind of hair gel do you use?
Just a, over-the-counter, basic, whatever I can get.
Is it like a Costco size thing, or is it just a regular standard
a little
issue?
tiny, a little dab.
Yeah? It's good.
It's just how I do it.
Keeps things in place.
Good question, though.
That is good. Thank you, Jimmy. That's a great question. Oh, no, that wasn't Jimmy. That was Doug. Thank you, Doug. Jimmy's in Oklahoma. Doug's asking about hair gel, and we're going to talk about an HD-28. So before we even get into this guitar, a lot of you for the first time are seeing and meeting Paul Decker face-to-face on camera. And I have to tell you a story about my first encounter with Paul Decker, and then I want him to tell you his story of meeting me. No, I'm just kidding, of Music Villa. The first time I met Paul Decker was actually in 2005 or 6. I actually came into Music Villa. I was here on vacation and immediately was shown the very cool high-end acoustic room where all the customs lived. And I was immediately wowed at how many custom guitars were actually in the store. At the time, I worked in Chicago at a music store, and we were a Martin dealer. We had tons of Martins, but nothing even close to the breadth of custom guitars that Music Villa had. So Paul and I shared a couple nice words, and told him I worked at the store and whatnot. He gave me the tour. On I went. Later on, I actually moved here and became an employee. And again, what struck me was the absolute depth and knowledge and interest in custom guitars. And I want to kind of start there in why so many customs, why acoustic guitars.
Sure.
How does that fit with the whole scheme?
I mean, The funny thing is, most people don't know, but I'm a drummer, but I have a love for guitars. So, just years ago, it just so happened I somehow got involved in guitars and started, being more involved and going to the factories and picking out woods and just, I just love guitars, even though I'm a horrible player. I do love the guitars. I love the way they. I just love the beauty of them. I love if it's a lot of bling or if it's just a player's guitar. I just love everything about guitars and the beautiful woods and all that kind of stuff. So, really just a love for guitars and that's it.
So when you first came into Music Villa, first of all, how did you come into Music Villa? What's the story behind that?
Well, so my dad owned the store, I think, since '81, and then I came back. I grew up working in the store as a kid, and then I moved out of town for a while and came back in '97 and took over from there, and then bought the store from him.
Cool. So when you were a kid working in the store, was that love of guitars there already,
No,
or did it kind of develop over
I
time?
think just the shiny things on the wall were exciting, but drums was what I was doing and what I still do when I go gig, obviously.
For sure.
So I came back and I don't know what kicked it off, but learning about the guitars and going to the factories and seeing how they're built and the whole thing just was became infatuated with that. So.
Yeah. It's very apparent, and I had a total random question that just popped into my head, and I'm curious if you can remember the first custom Martin that you ever built.
Man, that's
or
a tough
designed.
one. I don't think I can remember that, and I wish I could, because over the years we were building guitars, way back,
Right.
Custom guitars, and I didn't know what I was doing, other than I would just put together cool looking woods and lots of inlay. But I had no idea anything about guitars, about bracing or anything. It was just, I was just designing them for the beauty.
Right.
And that's how it all started for me. Later, years later is when I started understanding a little bit more about bracing and differences in tone.
For sure.
But I think one thing for me is helpful being a drummer is I have different opinions than, guitar players have a lot of opinions about everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of just look at it and go, even though you got this certain bracing pattern, tone is so different than everything that I'm a little more neutral.
Yeah.
When I'm designing or building a guitar, and sometimes I win some and sometimes I lose some. Sometimes sometimes we have an amazing guitar that we've kind of designed, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true, and I think it's an important point to make. When you're dealing with some of these customs, there's a lot of different viewpoints. If people like them because of the way they look, if people like them because of their tone, if people like them because of the combination of the two. I don't know. In a way, I feel like you almost win all of them, because every guitar's got somebody that's gonna play it.
Even our biggest duds we've ever done.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dud to them.
Right.
It had what they needed in a guitar.
I guess in a way there are no duds. It's just you got to find the right player for the right guitar.
What makes it a dud for you?
I guess not even the tone. Just sometimes you design something that, you try to get a little crazy with some woods or a finish on the guitar, and then it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So yeah, tone though. Yeah, who knows? Tone is each person's got its own opinion.
It's true.
Let's tell them about this
one.
guitar.
Absolutely. So let's. I'm really dragging it out. I'm dragging out this new HD-28 because I'm excited about it, and I'm kind of I don't know, what's that, delayed gratification. It's sitting here. You want to know about it, but we're not quite there yet.
Should we start with the original one?
Let's start with the original, because the HD-28, the Martin HD-28 is an iconic model.
Yep.
And we started making tweaks to it because we thought, well, it's perfect already. Let's make it more perfect. So tell us the story of how it originated.
I think all these things start because you have a guitar and you go, oh, I love this guitar, but I just wish it had the vintage style tuners, or just little tiny things. So first of all, we used to just do custom guitars where we would do one of a kind, crazy wood, really nice custom guitars. Then we started thinking of doing a standard guitar with just a little bit of tweaks, you know. So this one, the first HD-28 that we did, we just took Martin's amazing guitar already. It's already an amazing guitar. We just changed it a little bit. So it's, you know, someone still might like the standard stock HD-28.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one you prefer, but ours is just a little different. You know, the beveled pickguard, just
Sure.
a little step up. It just looks a little nicer. We did the vintage tuners. You know, the inlay's actually a little different too on the side here. Instead of 2 dots there, it's 1 dot.
Yeah,
Nothing major, but the tops are a hair thinner. The bracing is golden era with a little tweak. And let's see, what else do we do? Oh, then, you know,
The nut on the
nut
angle.
on the angle is a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
different. That just gives you, there's a little more mass on the nut right there. Small tweaks, but we really like the way this guitar turned out. So basically, that was our first one. Then we came to this new one.
I'm going to hand you this.
So same basic design. Everything's the same. I think this is a little more bold. It's
Yeah.
a bold herringbone. But the cool thing about this one, for one, is this Martin in Ivroid headstock logo, and with no C and F. And so this came about. Well, and first of all, I'd like to say, you know, these aren't, you know, these are collaborations. You know, between me and Tony and our rep Larry Barnwell,
Yeah.
who is, you know, I mean, he's the brains behind the, you know,
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of the internal. You know, I listen to a lot of people's suggestions and try to, you know, a lot of guitars too. We change neck profile and stuff just to, you know, we gather information from people. I listen to what people say and try to add some of those features in.
Absolutely.
But anyways, back to this. Is the Martin no CNF inlay headstock logo, which one day me and Larry were actually looking on the internet
It's
at
like this
something.
mythical headstock.
We found this and we're like, that is the coolest looking headstock logo. And I think it was done in the 30s originally, and then we kind of brought it back. I don't think it's been done. And so we asked the custom shop if they would do that again, and they found the, you know, they found the logo and did it, and they just take the CNF off, and I think it just looks really cool.
It's cool. I love that story. That like the picture
Yeah.
came up and I was like, oh, let's
working,
do that.
Yeah, we were working on customs one night, trying to get all our orders put together with the Martin rep, and we just came upon that, and we're like, that has to come back. The other difference we did on this guitar is we did Waverleys with the Ivroid buttons, and that's a nice upgrade. I mean, the other thing is on this one, there's a case upgrade too. It's got the nice guide
The
case.
5-plate guide
Yep.
case, yeah.
And other than that,
So
same specs.
so this is our new HD-28 Music Villa Special.
Oh, Addy top.
Yeah, so we have an Adirondack top with the same tweaks that we made on our Music Villa HD-28. So it's an Addy top, it's thinner, paired with golden era bracing. That's 1 inch from the sound hole. And the same kind of special secret bracing that we've been using, the tone bars are actually 1/4 inch instead of 5/16. So we have thinner top, lighter tone bars, Addy bracing, Addy top, super responsive, and really, really great punch. What I've really liked about this guitar, and I know you're probably sitting there saying, Tony, can you please play the guitar because we want to hear it? Yes, but I will assure you the audio right now is not very good. So you're going to get the standard acoustic letter treatment, the standard tunes, the standard songs, the whole deal, so you can actually hear what this guitar truly does sound like. But what I noticed about this guitar was it is incredibly, I mean, it has a ridiculous amount of punch. We were just playing it against the Music Villa HD-28, which is a great guitar as well, but this has kind of that laser beam projection that you'd expect from Adirondack, and it just continues to give sound. I mean, you can strum the hell out of this guitar, and it will continue to just provide sound and great tone. Really good depth of tone.
I do want to clarify one thing too, though. This one is 1 inch from the sound hole, which is forward shifted.
Correct.
Our first version was standard.
Standard
shifted.
placement,
Yeah,
right.
standard placement.
That's
so
a
this
good
one
point.
is forward shifted, so it's a little bit bassier.
Yeah, I mean,
bassier, but the Addy really gives it the
absolutely.
punch.
Yeah, so a combo of the Addy and the bracing placement definitely contributes to the incredibleness of this guitar. Rosewood back and sides like you find on an HD-28. This particular HD-28 has Ivoroid binding, which is a great match, again, for the tuners, the headstock logo, and the fingerboard dots, all done in Ivoroid, which is, I got to be honest, it's probably one of my favorite materials. I just think it looks so cool. You can see the lines in there, the whole deal. We have a low-profile 12-quarter mahogany neck, ebony fingerboard, again, with Ivoroid dots, an 1 11/16 bone nut on an angle, Waverly Ivoroid button tuners, and this super classy, super rare Martin headstock logo. That
I think you're going to start seeing this.
Cool.
I think it's a comeback. I think, yeah.
When we unboxed these, that day that they came in, we unboxed these. Actually, no, I wasn't here when you unboxed them. You texted me, and I was like, I'll be there in a second. And literally got in my car and drove to Music Villa as fast as I could.
Which how it is for me every day. Anytime a guitar comes in the store here, I want to open it. I just love it. It's like Christmas every day. So, you know, we love the custom guitars. We love acoustic guitars, and it's just a lot of fun to help be a part of these and design them.
Yeah, each one has their own little story. I mean, it's incredible, and to see them come to life, you know, when you unbox them is pretty outstanding.
Let's have them send in any questions they have about this specific guitar.
Oh yeah.
And then we can go to the standard Q&A.
For sure. Cool. I'm getting cues from our director. So I am going to encourage you to, if you have any questions about this particular guitar, write them on in now, and we'll start the Q&A on this guitar. And once the questions on this particular guitar kind of die off or dwindle, we'll just open up the floor to Q&A, acoustic guitar geek nerddom, and we have to do that. So, but first, before I even start with the questions, I want to say that if you're ever sitting at home and you watch a review or you watch one of these live Q&As and you have questions that we necessarily didn't get to or afterwards you thought of, please call us about any of the guitars we review, be it this one or anything. You can call Paul or Ross here at the shop. They're here pretty much Monday through Friday, and Ross is here on the weekends as well. So we're here to help you out, answer your questions about guitars, and of course, if you're interested in any guitars, you know, please call us.
We do sell guitars too.
Yeah. We review them and we sell them as well. And we want to share our love of acoustic guitar with you. So without further ado, let's dive into some questions about the HD-28 Music Villa Special. My director's queuing them up right now. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's a good one.
How does it compare to the the D-28 Clarence White?
That's a great. First of all, this question is from Bruce, and he's curious of how this guitar compares to the D-28 Clarence White. And the Clarence White is one of my faves.
It's a great guitar.
It's a cool guitar.
It's hard to tell when they're not side by side.
Yeah.
That larger sound hole in the Clarence White does.
You meant from Tom.
Oh, Tom. Right.
Oh, Tom. I'm sorry. I keep getting the names goofed up.
That larger sound hole does change it, and I don't have an exact tonal comparison. It's really hard without it being here.
Yeah. No.
You know that guitar.
So yeah. So the Clarence White I think is a great guitar. It has really strong projection and really good volume. This guitar I feel like has those same characteristics, but it's a little bit more reined in, not in a bad way. I feel like the Clarence White can, if you push it hard enough, it can get a little bit mushy and things can run together, which isn't a bad thing. For the right player, it's a great guitar. This guitar you can push really hard, and it actually retains.
It's tighter, but it's still got great lows, mids, and highs, but it's tighter.
And really good separation. I mean, even I think that's the one thing that this guitar, you know, that would set those two apart would be the separation portion when you really get into it.
I think someone else just asked if there was a Sunburst version. We actually have two Sunburst versions. One is gone. So
okay.
One's gone. One has not showed up yet. So
okay.
We still have one more Sunburst coming.
Cool.
And then 3 natural.
Awesome.
Now we're going to get into this price point.
Ooh, price point.
Price point. These are all around the $4,000 price range.
Yep. So this question is from James asking about the price point of this particular guitar, and this particular model floats around $4,000 with the Addy upgrade, the Golden Era bracing, the Addy bracing,
Waverly.
The Waverly tuners, which, in my opinion, which is cool because we're located probably 2 miles from the factory.
No, quarter
less than
mile.
a quarter
Yeah,
mile.
they're just down the street. Yeah,
I've
they
got my
make these.
distances
They
all
make
screwed up.
these right down the street. Waverly tuners from us, and you know, it's a neat little shop, but we can't even
Yeah.
buy them from them.
Yeah.
They just sell direct to.
It's cool, and I say factory. I mean, it's literally it's a small shop, and these tuners are, you know, as these guitars are hand built, these tuners are hand built and machined to exacting specs, and it feels that way. They just feel solid. They feel great. Let's go on to the next question.
Next question.
Whoever
Tony, you're taking too long.
whoever wrote that in, it's true. I can be a little long-winded. As the beard grows, it's harder to move my mouth faster.
This is a good test, though. We're here to kind of test the whole webinar, make sure it's going to work, and make sure we can chat about guitars if we need to.
Absolutely. Can you go back one?
We have just a comment from Paul.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So Paul just wrote in. He's viewing right now. He loves his HD-28 short scale Music Villa hot rod.
Yeah.
And we're totally pumped that you love it.
I forgot about that one. There's a third version of it. We did the same Music Villa HD-28 in a short scale, and that's pretty rare because Gibson usually makes short scales. Martin doesn't have an HD-28 in a short scale, and that's a neat guitar. It's just it's a little easier to play. It's a little squishier, and it's a great guitar.
Feel-wise, it's a cool guitar, and tonally, it's a little
great.
bit different as well.
Yep.
So it's a cool addition to the lineup. Thanks for saying that, Paul. We appreciate it a ton. Ooh, how old? This is a great question. This is from Ken. How old is the top, and does Martin put wood up for a time? I don't necessarily, unless you know an exact number.
I don't know an exact number.
I think
it's different. I think it would be different for, they get stacks of wood in, and it could be, who knows how long that wood has been around, but then it goes through a special drying, like an oven, basically. But as far as how long the wood's been around, who knows, or how old the trees are. I'm sure it's different year to year. But
yeah, I mean, I remember when we went back in March, walking into the wood room. I mean, there is stacks of wood, and it's all at different kind of spots in the process. It goes through an acclimation process, so the wood is an ideal moisture content for guitar making. So I would say it probably varies from piece to piece, but it's not about the time, it's about the pieces exhibiting the same characteristics. So that's without an exact number, that's what we got for you.
Nut width. I saw a question about nut width.
Oh,
one and 11/16.
Yep.
And low profile.
Somebody else, why not V-neck?
Well, there's because they have a V-neck, and it's a what is it,
the modified V?
Yeah. We just chose low profile. I feel like more people prefer this.
Yeah.
But, the V-neck's an amazing neck, but for some people it's hard. On the hand.
And I think I think you stick with this is based off of an HD-28, which the standard model comes with a modified low oval or lower profile. So we wanted to stay true-ish to that, which that doesn't mean you can't order one with a V-neck.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. but really, truly, you certainly can. I prefer. I just got that OM-28.
You like a V-neck.
Yeah, that modified V-neck is literally, I think, my favorite new neck profile. But I have an HD-35 with a low profile on it, and it's just as comfortable. It's just it's a matter of personal preference, and we try and design the guitar around what people ask for. As Paul said before, we really like to listen to players and then offer what they want.
Okay, here's a question.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I've heard this a lot. People ask about the thinner top and how it holds up. Yeah, okay, I have a standard HD-28 that holds up fine in my climate. How is the thinner top going to stand up in the harsh environments? The thinner top is really all about the response of the guitar. It's not going to change in how it holds up. What really matters in a harsh climate is humidity.
Right.
So if the guitar is humidified properly, and it stays at 45% humidity in a harsh climate, that's how it is here. We're a very dry climate. We've never seen any issues with the tops. They don't.
Correct. Yeah.
Just because it's a little, it's just a hair thinner. It doesn't have anything to do with how it holds up. Martin has made guitars with this thinner top in the past for years, so
Yeah.
no difference in how long the guitar is going to hold up. But you just need to humidify the guitar.
Yeah, I mean, I think even a standard thickness top,
Yeah.
if not taken care of,
Yeah.
Would fail quicker than a thinner top taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. We just like the thinner top. It just, I don't know what, I mean, it just adds it's a little more responsive, I think.
Yeah, it just gives you that extra, I don't know, it's like you don't have to try as hard to pull tone out of the guitar. The guitar is just ready to offer it, which I love.
There you go.
Ooh, good question. Oh, I love it. So you guys might know I love D35s. And Lee just wrote in, and he says, compare it to a D35. I think that is an extremely, extremely awesome question. D35 has 1/4 inch bracing, and if you were listening to the specs on this, we changed the tone bars to 1/4 inch. Now, this is so cool. I have this. This is like Tony's Wonderland workshop right now. So when I refer to the tone bars being a 1/4 inch, it's these two transverse braces that are along the lower bout, these two right here. Everything else on the HD-28 Special is 5/16, the cross braces, etc. Now, a D35, the cross braces are 1/4 inch, as are the tone bars. So when I'm comparing this guitar to a D35, I would say the D35 offers responsiveness as well, but it responds better to a lighter touch than this guitar. This guitar responds okay to a lighter touch, but I think where it excels is when you really dig in and you can pull the tone out of it. Whereas a D35 for a lighter touched player, or maybe even a player that prefers like a lighter pick or maybe a finger picking, a D35 is a great match. This guitar excels being flat picked. It's actually pretty good finger picker as well, but I would say the main difference between the two goes back to the articulation and the projection. D35 has the responsiveness, but it does not have the articulation or just kind of forward force that the HD-28 Music Villa Special has. That's a great question. It's a really, really cool question. Thank you. Ooh, so this question is that from Mike or Doug?
That's from Doug.
Oh, okay, now I'm getting it. Now the name's on the bottom. Okay, getting some logistics worked out. Doug just wrote in and he says, do you feel like this guitar is more for a rhythm strummer or a picker and a grinner? And while I think it excels at both, I think finger picked it holds up very well because of the responsiveness. I think with a flat pick is where this guitar shines the most. If somebody came to me and said, I'm mainly a bluegrass flat picker, strummer, I occasionally do a little finger picking, I would be very comfortable handling this guitar. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree. It's very, but yeah, I think more than a finger picker, it's a strummer, flat picker, but finger picks very well as well.
Yeah, I think
it's just a great sound.
What I noticed about this guitar is that you can just dig in. I mean, you just when you think, maybe I shouldn't play that hard, you can, and it's like, whoa, it responds.
It does. There's someone just is asking if you can order one with Brazilian rosewood.
Ooh, good question.
I would, really the only thing you can do is do Madagascar rosewood.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do Brazilian, but it's like a retail price of like 50,000.
Yeah.
But Madagascar is very, very similar to Brazilian in tone. However, that's going up in price as well. But this guitar with Madagascar would probably be $7,000 range, somewhere in there. But we did get a D45 Brazilian in the other,
talk
trade,
about
which
like
we'll
Christmas.
talk about later. But yeah, we got 1990 D45 in Brazilian rosewood. Just came in the door, so
And
we're gonna do a little special on that later. Anyways, sorry.
And it deserves it.
Next question.
Oh, that's really cool. Do you want to read that one aloud, Paul? That one's cool. Thank you, Tom. Right at the top.
No questions. Just want to say that Music Villa has the best service and finest guitars anywhere. Well done, and thank you. Thank you, Tom.
That's very cool.
We appreciate it.
That is very, very cool.
Did you guys already talk about the sunburst?
Yep, there is a sunburst coming.
Okay. We might kind of switch over to some other questions. You guys are okay with that?
Absolutely. So we're switching. We're just opening up now. It's just Q&A fever.
Oh, I'm sorry. Best guitar humidifier.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's a good one. Best guitar humidifier. I think there's a couple different ones that I like. And here's what I like to do. Now, in our climate and when it gets really cold, I like to do two. We do one in the sound hole, and we also have a custom-made little sponge in a soap box that we use too. So when it gets really cold here, we do a under the neck in the case. It doesn't work in all cases, but in most cases it fits under here, kind of helps keep the neck humidified. And then we have a sound hole, what's it? Oasis. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Oasis sound hole pickup or sound hole humidifier works well. You know, they all work really well. I don't have a real favorite.
I think
the Planet Waves is great too.
Yeah.
In our climate, you got to refill the packs pretty quick. But the Planet Waves is actually definitely would be my favorite if I had to choose one.
I mean, I think
you have to buy refills.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely with our climate, that's a great one. And I think, as long as you're using a guitar humidifier, that's the best one. The key word is that you're using it.
You gotta use it.
I think the Oasis is great. The Planet Waves one is great. The Dampit's also a really good one. It really, you got to use them. That's the best one is the one you use.
45's
All right. What's that question, Tony? You want to take that?
Yeah. This is from Deb. And she says, can you order a one-off custom Martin through you, or is the cost usually prohibitive? Whenever I use the Build Your Own Martin tool on the Martin website, the guitar usually costs $16,000. That's you're probably designing an awesome guitar. That's what's happening there. But no, honestly, they're quoting. Is that retail that they're quoting on that?
I think they don't have it. Deb, I don't think they have it dialed in perfectly on their website how it works. It's kind of a ballpark, and that's also a retail price. Once we do the final quote for you, usually it brings it down quite a bit. In price. So, if you're getting 16,000, I would assume the guitar is going to be around 12 somewhere in there. So, it's best to go once you're ready and you're close to knowing what you want. It's better to go through a dealer so you can get the quote dialed in exactly. So someone just brought me this. This was that.
Ta-da!
This is just exciting. So, and that's why we're doing this, like I said, because we love guitar. We could sit here for 2 more hours
easily
and keep running upstairs and grabbing more guitars to show you. And I think that's what we're going to do. Pretty soon we're going to do what I call heirloom guitars and real classic models. I think might be our next webinar, and we want to show all the really cool classics. We also got in a Monarch. I mean, we got a whole bunch of really cool stuff that just came in. But this is the D45. Now this is Brazilian rosewood. So.
And if you've never experienced Brazilian rosewood, let me tell you this: if you ever find a Brazilian rosewood guitar, the first thing you must do is stick your nose in the sound hole and smell it, because it has like a minty. It has this really unique smell that I love. It's probably toxic. I mean, it might be toxic, but I absolutely love the smell.
It does smell pretty good. This is a 1990. It was a custom-built guitar.
Yeah.
It's a D45, which is just such a classic.
I love everything about that guitar. Having the Brazilian and this piece of pearl I actually love the most, because it's got this really cool mottled pattern, and then it goes really smooth on the other side.
Yeah.
Very
this thing's
cool.
in great shape.
Yeah.
Just came in the door this morning.
Yep.
So we haven't even put it out or videotaped it yet.
So David wants to know why no pickups.
Ooh, good question.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we really like the K&K Pure Mini pickup, and that's what we put in a lot of our guitars. Generally we wouldn't do a custom guitar with a pickup in it because so many people have different choices of which pickup.
Yeah.
So we just keep them plain because we can put a pickup in at any time. So basically that answers that. But that just made me think of something. We are doing a HD-28 cutaway.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Oh, that's
So,
right. I just saw that.
Yeah. So we have that's another cool guitar we have coming, because it's you can get a cutaway Martin but not in a D28.
Right.
So
right.
we have that coming as well with no pickup, because we will probably install the K&K Pure Mini in it, or whatever people want, we
Yeah.
can put in. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one here from Chris.
Yes. Oh, Chris says, greetings from Germany. Welcome. This is cool. I love that. Tony, what picks do you use? I guess extra heavy picks considering your tone, but I can't really place it across the mic. Absolutely. I use, I have them in my pocket here. This one's faded, but I use a Dunlop Ultex 2.0 Sharp pick. That's the one. Dustin's putting it up close for me. It's a thicker pick. It's a 2mm pick, and it comes to a sharp point. I love it. I love the thicker picks. I feel like I have more control tonally. I like the sharp point on these because it actually results in a really good bevel as the pick gets broken in. It's just a great pick. I love it. You know, it's one of those things where as soon as I found this particular pick, I went out and bought about 100 of them, and I haven't thought about picks since.
See, that's why it's nice that I'm a drummer. See, these guys will start talking about picks and little things for like an hour.
It's true. It's true.
Which I appreciate. It's nice, but yeah.
But yes, it's true. That's so true. The Dunlop Ultex Sharp 2.0s. Ooh, that's a good question. This might be a can of worms question. The question is this: how much does neck thickness affect the sound of a guitar? Whew.
I would, my opinion always is, if you took 5 guitars with thick necks and 5 guitars with thinner necks of the exact same guitar, you're going to have some crossover.
I agree.
In general.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're supposed to get a little more transfer. Maybe.
Yeah.
Technically, some transfer of sound coming through the bigger neck, but who knows? If you didn't get the most perfect piece of mahogany on the neck, maybe the thinner one's gonna transfer sound better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of variables there.
I just think there's too many variables to say. I would just go by the feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely, like you said, there's truth in mass transferring energy. Yeah. And that is absolute truth. And I think that's where the debate comes from. But
maybe it deadens it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many working parts of the guitar machine as far as tone is concerned.
Yeah.
I'm of the camp that it might affect it, but to the most minute degree.
I agree.
That's that for neck thickness. Oh yeah, that's a great one. That's a good question. Doug asks, have you ever changed pick guards just for looks? I have a D-28 with a black pick guard, but I have thought about moving to a tortoiseshell one like the HD-28. Is that a bad move?
It's a great move.
It's a great move. I actually did that when I bought my HD-35. This was back. What kind of pick guard did it have on it? It had one of those kind of pixelated looking tortoiseshell pick guards, and I didn't like it. So I took that pick guard off and ended up putting a Grevin beveled edge Tortoise pick guard on it, and and I did it purely for looks. As lame as that sounds, purely for looks, and I love it. And every time I look at it, I thought that was one of the best moves I've ever made. So thumbs up, go for it.
Just have a guy that knows how to take it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, just strum that thing. I know the audio is going to be bad, but people want to. Nice. All right. Someone's asking about that K&K pickup that we were talking about. The K&K is 150 installed.
Yeah.
It's nice because there's no batteries. There's nothing. It's just 3 sensors under the bridge plate with a jack in the back, and it sounds great.
I love that. Yeah, K&K is a great transparent pickup. It's awesome. Ooh. Tom's asking how can we explain how scallop bracing affects the tone of the sound of a guitar, which is a phenomenal question. So yeah, let's start with the unscalloped side. So if we look at, I almost put my pick in my mouth. That would make talking very difficult. Yeah, we can kind of. I'm not sure if we can get the angle right. So what we're looking at here is straight braced, completely unscalloped. Okay. Great rigidity, really great for a heavy hand. You can really dig in. Now, if we flip that over and look at the scallop side, you'll see that some of the material is actually removed from the bracing. It's in the same spot, same location, same everything, but the braces are actually carved. There's some of the materials carved out. What that does is it lightens up the top and creates a top that's more ready to vibrate than the non-scallop side. So as far as it affecting the sound, generally a non-scallop brace guitar is going to be reserved under a light hand, but react well to a heavy hand. Whereas a scallop top is pretty much ready to go. It reacts great to a light hand and to a heavy hand as well, but depending on how heavy and what the materials are, it may have some built-in compression because it is lighter and it's ready to go very, very quickly. So basically mass, scallop top or non-scallop top has more mass than a scallop top.
And they're both good. I mean, they're all.
Yeah.
It's really a tonal difference. This is more work, and I've seen them do this at Martin, and they actually are there with the chisel, chiseling these out, and it's amazing to watch them, to watch them do that. And so I think people always think, oh, it's got to be scallop bracing, but it's really just a difference in tone, and it depends on what you like.
Absolutely. Greetings from Utah, not Germany. That's okay. Utah's still pretty cool. Will we ever see custom all-mahogany Martins, maybe an all-solid sinker mahogany guitar? Kevin, that's a great question. I'm gonna let Paul address that one.
Yeah, that's a possibility. There's, we do have a mahogany D18 kind of version that we do, but sinker top would be definitely something we'll probably look into.
Very cool.
Yeah. That would be a good one.
I think the cool thing about customs is it's pretty much an open playing field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's great about it.
This is something that not just, like I said, we love doing this, but it gives someone a unique guitar.
Yeah.
It's something that's yours, and it's just a little different than the other stuff out there, and it makes it a little special.
Absolutely. String.
Okay. Yeah, this one's you, Tony.
So Mike is asking, starts out with strings, the magical fruit. No, I'm just kidding. With each new custom, do you choose different string types?
Well, for one thing, we're a busy store too, so we have stuff comes in and we try to get it filmed, and Tony's here only on a couple of certain days.
Yeah.
And then we have guys who are web guys here who do the videos. And sometimes it's, we don't have time to think about those things, but we will always change stuff before we ship a guitar if we have to. Anything
absolutely.
To make it. But generally, whatever the guitars come in with is what we use. So, these are going to have the SP treated strings.
The lifespan mediums.
The lifespan mediums. Yeah. And but this is the question of strings comes up a lot, and the biggest question I think that I get answering emails is people want to know what strings are on the guitar and what gauge when you're doing demos. And I know we're starting to try to resolve that. And
absolutely.
Sometimes it's you just don't know sometimes, but for the most part, strings gosh, they do make a big difference though.
They really do.
Especially when they're
really
a little dead. It's a huge difference, but strings is a huge topic as well.
Yeah, I mean when we do demos, generally we're getting them fresh out of the box, and it's whatever they come with. So Martin Dreads are going to be SP Lifespan Mediums, OMs, Triple O's are going to be SP Lifespan Lights. The Taylors have been using Elixir strings. The Gibsons are using their own proprietary brand. So I promise to you, acoustic letter people, I will try my best to name the strings as I do the demos. I know it's one detail I've been leaving off, and I do apologize.
Tom Brown here.
Oh, cool. So Tom says he has a D-28 Clarence White Brazilian Rosewood, and it resonates forever, which I believe. It's a killer guitar. It is one of my favorites. And it has forward-shifted bracing. Or he's asking, with the forward-shifted bracing on this model, will it do the same? I think it's got it's got a little charm in the resonance. I mean, I think it rings for quite a bit.
Time, yeah. A lot of that's also could be the top and the bracing as well.
Yeah.
Not just the Brazilian Rosewood, but the way it's braced and all that. But yeah, it's got a good ring.
I mean it does sustain. I feel like we're doing the Spinal Tap scene right here. Can you hear it?
It's ringing.
It's still ringing.
It's still ringing.
No, I think this model has great resonance, and I think it's true. Regardless of bracing location, I think it's a recipe of the top and materials that makes this particular guitar resonate the way that it does.
Here's a good one for you.
Ooh. I like the pause before we do the questions. We're all like reading it. So let me read this one out loud. I purchased an HD-28 and a D42 with both guitars. I used the tone right to help smooth out the sounds. I used the tone right on each guitar for 14 days. What are your thoughts on this? And finally, the smell of the finish is really very difficult to deal with.
That was his first question.
The first question, how can I get rid of the strong smell and the finish with new Martins? It's really very difficult to deal with at times.
The new smell finish, that's the nitrocellulose lacquer.
Yeah.
Generally, I don't get too much of that with Martins, and it seems to go away pretty quick.
Yeah.
I would just say that should go away. I mean, it shouldn't stick around too much longer. I never see them stay too long on the strong smell.
I think taking it out of the case and letting it air out is a good way, but obviously make sure that it's humidified. You don't want to leave it out for days. I think a lot of that is some of the case smell, just because the glues they use in the case.
Yeah.
And then also I always get a really strong cedar smell because the kerfing is a Spanish cedar.
And then he was also asking about the tone right. Which that's a device that people put on the guitar. I think there's one that hooks here, or there's one you can set on the top, and it's meant to, when you're not playing it, you can leave it on all night, and it vibrates. So the top is always vibrating, and it's a way to speed up the aging process of the guitar.
Yeah,
he was asking how those work, and I've seen them, and I know they do work. I've seen, and I do understand. Obviously playing is the best way, but if you want to leave that thing on overnight, every day, it does change. It does make the top tighten up and come together.
Yeah, I think
it does age it, and I know they do work.
The more that the top vibrates, the better.
Yep.
I mean, as the guitar ages, that's why old guitars sound the way that they do. They've had a chance to be played and vibrate, etc. I think there's it's a legit device. I just like playing them.
Well, I got one. Someone was asking about like Callings and some other brands, and when we're going to review those. And one thing I think people just assume we review any guitar, but really we really only review what we sell here at the store. We just don't have a way of reviewing other guitars and stuff that we don't sell right now. So we're just not a dealer for. Our main thing is Martin, Gibson, Taylor, and then we also sell, Yamaha and Eastman and a PRS. So PRS is our new big one. But there's, for acoustic leather, we mainly focus on high-end Gibson, Martin, Taylor, PRS.
Yeah.
And then we have a whole store full of other guitars. But if we're not a dealer for a certain guitar, we just don't have any way to demo it. So
we'll get them in used every now and again, and if we do, we'll certainly post them.
We have no opposition to demoing anything.
Yeah.
We demo what we have and what we love. So.
Tony, Mary Elizabeth said that.
Oh, hello, Mary Elizabeth. It's good to see you out there on the internet.
Boy.
There you go.
And speaking of playing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Did we even tune that yet?
Kinda.
Oh, that'll work. It'll work. So let me get a G chord on this guy. Then we're gonna go to D45 land.
We'll do a video.
This is deep. This is deep. This is deep, buddy. Cool. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm back now. 3 more questions? Cool, cool. The director's telling me we have time for 3 more, so we're gonna do our best.
I got one here from Peter too,
Oh, cool.
in New York. Special memo.
A special,
Yes.
like messenger pigeon
Yeah,
style?
yeah.
Okay, let's do
Yes.
let's do this one, and then
All
we'll
right.
do the messenger
You
pigeon.
got it.
What do you think about Adirondack, Bear Claw Spruce, etc. tops? Is it worth the money? I'm thinking to buy a Martin D16A or a Martin D18. Would love to hear what you think about it.
Can I answer that?
Absolutely, shoot ahead.
I think that you should buy it if you love the look of it, because either way, they're wonderful tops. It's an upcharge, and I think, I don't think it's tonally really going to be better or worse. It could be
The
better.
Bear Claw versus yeah.
So Bear Claw tops, they're amazing looking.
Yeah.
So I'd if that's what you want, I would buy it.
I agree. I think Bear Claw versus just a straight grain spruce. Bear Claw is beautiful. I've always loved it. I mean, to have spruce be figured, it's not necessarily something you see every day, because we associate spruce with straight grain, real pure, real uniform, and then to see those little models and twists and turns is very, very cool. The other portion of that, the Adirondack part, tonally, I feel like that does play an impact. Sitka versus Adirondack.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there is a
Yep.
definite change in that. But as far as like a Bear Claw
Yeah.
of one version of spruce versus
Yeah.
a non-Bear Claw of the same,
It's too
I
hard
agree
to-
with you.
it's
I
too
go
hard
with
to
I
tell.
go with Bear Claw probably 100%.
We've got these Bear Claw. We got these Bear Claw customs
Yeah.
that came in, and they just look amazing.
Yeah.
They all sound great, and I don't know, if we had the exact same guitar without the Bear Claw,
Yeah.
I'm assuming they would sound, almost identical.
Yeah,
But-
I agree. I'm a sucker for
Yeah.
spruce with character.
Yeah.
I am.
So Peter was asking, how does our Addy I think this is what it says, is because this is secondhand.
This has gone
How
through
does
3
this
people.
Addy, this Addy top compare to like an authentic?
Ooh,
So
a lot of wow. That's a tough one.
Authentic's a whole nother deal.
Because you got a lot of things at play.
We don't even have, the bracing pattern here to show exactly an authentic. I know the authentic's got a lot more handwork involved, and there's a lot of differences in how the bracing joins, and there's not, things are actually tucked into the braces and stuff on the authentics. Some of these parts here are actually they're tucked into it. It's just a lot harder to build the bracing pattern, I believe, on the authentics. But the authentics are, also Madagascar rosewood, or
thin
Brazilian
finish,
on the old ones,
finished over the pick guard, T-bar reinforcement on some. There's a lot at play there, I think.
But our guitar though this is a $4,000 guitar, and versus something that's $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a difference. It's hard to say exactly how they're going to differ without having them side by side. The authentics are amazing.
I think feel-wise, I think there's a very strong feel difference in the authentic versus any of our HD-28s for that matter, because there's a little bit more nuance in the neck profile, the taper, the barrel, the heel. But tonally, they're different animals, and I think it's largely due to construction. I think the authentics are incredible. I think these are incredible as well. They're both killer guitars.
They're all good.
Yeah,
They're all good.
Okay, here's our next one.
Why do you think Martin doesn't offer a neck profile like the 60s and 70s? Can you order one with this profile? Actually, I feel like they do.
There's got to be one
and
of
it's
them.
like
They have a lot of
it's a
profiles.
more round C-type profile. I don't know their exact name. It might be the true oval profile. I'm not sure of the proper name.
Go to their website. On Martin's
Yeah.
website, they have a section of neck profiles, and they have like 10 different neck profiles.
It's so cool because they actually do a cross section so you can see what it looks like, and they have it's like 10 or 12 different neck profiles. And I believe 60s and 70s was a more of a round, almost C or oval type. So definitely check Martin's website on that. And if for whatever reason you can't find it there, please email us because I think we have a graphic of the different neck profiles we'd be happy to share with you. Great question. That's a really good question. Do you want me to read that one and then you answer it?
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is fun. Does Paul have any wisdom on how to run a successful music store like he has?
Wow. So, any advice? Is that what that means?
Anything to share about running a successful music store? What's the secret?
You know, I think the secret is passion. You know, you got to have a passion about whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I love what I do. I love guitars, and you just have to be involved. That's the biggest thing. You have to be involved in the industry.
Yeah.
In the people. You know, you got to be involved with the fine folks at Martin, the custom shop. You know, the people at Taylor, Gibson, all the companies, and I think life in general is about your relationships, and I think that's the biggest key.
Absolutely. We probably got time. How many say we got time for? One more?
A few more.
One more? Two more?
Lebanon.
3 more? Oh, no way.
All right.
Another question. Is it okay to tune a 13-gauge string to normal tuning, or is it too much tension on the top? That's from Robin. I think I say go for it. I mean, the standard medium gauge high E is a 13 gauge, which I use on two different guitars of mine, and I have no problems.
Yeah.
Totally
unless you had a certain guitar that was really lightly built, or a smaller guitar that maybe.
Yeah.
Then 13s may not work that good on it, but almost any guitar today, they're all made for 13s. No problem at all.
Yeah. Tony, you had a guest with you in one of your reviews that there you go. Tony, you had a guest with you in one of your reviews that talked guitars, tops and backs, and sound projection. He knocked on both the back and front, and it seemed to only have sound when he hit the top. How does the HD-28 differ from that? And this is from Alan. So that was actually with Paul Reed Smith, who is the owner of Paul Reed Smith Guitars, PRS Guitars, and he was kind of explaining some of their build philosophy for those of you who may not have seen that interview. He went ahead and actually I'm going to grab our HD-28 for this since you specifically asked about that. He went ahead and tapped on the top and then on the back. And you can hear a difference on this one as well, but as Alan said, when you do that to a PRS, the top is incredibly boomy and very responsive, and the back is very tight and very stiff. Their build philosophy was stiff back, loose top, forward projection. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, and it's just a difference in philosophy. With this HD-28, I feel like you get a good kind of solid, responsive, looser tap on the top. And then on the back, it's stiff, and you can hear the stiffness, but it has a little bit more resonance to it. I personally like that back resonance, because when I strum a guitar, I want to feel it come out the front, but I also want to feel it in my body. I want to feel it resonate. And I think it's just a different build philosophy. Yeah. Does it make it a good guitar or a bad guitar? I think it's a toss-up. I think it's how it sounds and what you're looking for in terms of
it depends on the player.
Yeah.
They're both, I mean, there's no denying you can't change a classic HD-28.
Oh, yeah.
You would never want to, do a tighter back on a classic model like this.
Right.
That's why this guitar sounds so good, is the way it was built. And the PRS sound great too. They're just a different style.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to firstly, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We've had really, really cool questions. A bunch of viewers chime in to say hi. Thank you so much. This is really cool. You guys are actually what allow this to happen. So thank you for the discussion. Thanks for tuning in. I want to remind you again that we have unveiled the Music Villa HD-28 special, and these are available. They're not a huge run. We did a run of 4, and some of them are gone already. We also want to encourage you, if you have further questions, please give us a call. Our number here at the shop, 406-587-4761. And if you're curious about this guitar or other customs that we offer, please let us know. We do have love for lefties. I do know that a lot of you are saying, review some left-handed guitars. We don't get them in a ton, but we are happy to order them. We have no issues with lefties. We're happy to help you out. But again, these guitars are available. Make sure to turn in to the acoustic letter. Make sure to sign up for our YouTube channel. Make sure to sign up for our email list. We send out reviews twice a week and then a little special treat on Saturdays. Again, I just really want to say thanks for everybody being here. Check out our website, acousticletter.com. Thank you, Paul, for taking the time out. I know that, the store's busy.
I never even thank you guys. So I'd like to thank Tony and Dustin and Levi, who are the Acoustic Letter team members, and Ross, who is upstairs.
Those are good-looking thumbs.
Me and and just so people know, me and Ross work on the main floor, and we're here to answer guitar questions. Me and Ross usually answer most of the emails. Tony does the videos. Tony teaches here at Music Villa, and then Levi and Dustin are our web men, and that's our acoustic.
That's the crew.
So
that's the crew.
Thank you, everybody.
So thank you very much. Again, if you have questions, please call, please email, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys next time.